Hey guys, what is up? Roshi is here. Quick video. I'm going to be giving my thoughts on the balance changes that came a couple days ago. And as a bonus, I have some spoilers I got from Twitter. We'll be taking a look at those cards and seeing where they might fit in. So let's just dive right into it. Since the changes are already in the game, I just pulled them up here on my client. We'll start off with Matriarch Zendi. Just a slight buff here. She now survives the tyranny of Blazing Salvo, but still dies to Torch, or Torch wannabes, as we call them in Expedition. Plenty of cards that deal 3 damage, so not really a huge change here. It definitely does bring it in line with cards like the Marius Mandrake, where this is, Mandrakes seem to have, if you want to deal with them, dealing 3 damage seems to be the key. I think this will make this card see more play. As a 2/2, there wasn't a whole lot of reason to run it. It would just lose in fights to 1-drops, or at least trade. So being able to at least eat 1-drops will make this card have some more value. I would have preferred to see it as a 2/4 or like a 1/4 or something. But hey, we can't have it all. Next up, Invasive Creeper got a slight nerf. Its abilities are all still the same, but it's just easier to just ping off the board. I've already killed this a few times with snowballs and other things, so it definitely is a noticeable change. Not sure this is a card that needed to be toned back, but hey, it is what it is, and this will impact Mandrakes to some extent. Skimmer Wrangler got a slight buff. Stun 2 enemy units with flying. Once again, this card fails the torch test, just like Matriarch does now. And being a 3-drop and failing the torch test is much worse. I can't imagine a world where you're playing against Valkyries and they don't just instantly kill this. But if that world does happen, then you're sitting pretty good. Honestly, I actually played a soldier deck live on my stream the other day, and I opted out of including this card even in its buffed form. So yeah, I think this needs to be like a 3-power 3/4 before it to see play. I like its aggressive statting, but it's just there's better ways to stun that aren't as conditional. So I think this card is not going to do anything. Feel free to prove me wrong, but yeah, this needs some. If it's a 3/4, I think that makes it infinitely more survivable, and then maybe the creatures will actually stay stunned. As it is, I imagine you're just going to play this, it's going to stun 2 guys, and then they're going to kill it, and they're going to be unstunned, and then they're going to continue punching you in the face. That's just my opinion on that. Vine Tangler, this got a nerf. This was one of the cards I was actually saying needed more of a nerf than the Marius Mandrake. It looks like they did. Maybe they listened to me, or maybe they were already planning on doing it, but they did increase the ultimate cost. Before, you had to pay 4 with Marius Mandrake in play, and now that has been increased by 1, so you have to pay 5. I think that's helpful. 5 is, in fact, a higher number than 4, and 9 is, in fact, a higher number than 7. I think this definitely puts it to the point where if Marius Mandrake is not in play, unless you're doing some sort of ramping with Hourglass or Catra, getting to 9 is extremely difficult, whereas 7, it's reasonable that you get there. So I think this will tone down Vine Tangler while keeping the card intact, which I love to see. Heavy Artillery. This card dies to Dicro's Ruin now, which is funny. You can also just snowball it. I think they went out of control with nerfing this card. I don't really remember having, there were definitely games where I just died. I mean, me and everyone else, I'm sure, where this card just came into play and then you just died. But I'm not sure being a 5/1 was really the answer to this. Maybe a 5/2. Or, toning down the other half of the card. But I never even really played the Valkyrie Warp deck, so my opinion might not be as valid on this. But as someone who played against it, I feel like having it be a 5/1, like, this card now dies to an even-handed golem. Like, just to put that in perspective, you'll still take 4 damage to the face, but yeah. Having Valkyrie Warp and kind of being a card you want to hang around for a little while, it now can't kill anything without trading, unless it's like literally a Merry Mandrake or like has 0 power. Speaking Circle got a very, very welcome change. I'm very glad how they decided to do this, both toning down the loyalty and making it so that if they have a Speaking Circle in play, you can play yours and kill theirs. Getting in those scenarios, I'm just glad it's behind us. Let's just say that. They worded it quite well on their balance changes. It was very annoying when someone would just like be on the play and cast their Speaking Circle before you, and then you've got 2 Speaking Circles in your hand and you just lose the game. So now there is that back and forth where you can play your Speaking Circle, kill theirs with it, and then they can play another one. Like, at least you're not just sitting there staring at your Speaking Circles annoyed. So that's great. And I like that change. Also, reducing its toughness. This card, as a site, is better than most of the other sites that require factions. So, just because of its ability to basically invoke 3 times and get you out of really weird situations that you wouldn't get out of otherwise. So, I'm really happy to see that change, and I look forward to playing with this card more in the future. Opum's technique got a pretty hefty buff. Basically, you can now spend 1 power to kill a Prism Golem and, or that annoying dragon that's like the Cast Iron Forge dragon or whatever. I imagine it also kills Daru's dragon, which just makes the Cast Iron Forge dragon, so I guess that's kind of a redundant statement. But being able to blow up these things seems solid. I haven't tested it yet, but this might mean that Opum's technique can now kill Speaking Circle. It does just say enemy, so I'm kind of leaning towards the fact that this is just another card that blows up a Speaking Circle. So that's sweet, and I'll have to test that out, so don't take that as facts or not facts. But I like where they're going with this. It seems like these techniques are now automatic, like, with the changes they've done between here and previous balance changes, if you're playing these factions and these tribes, I'm kind of leaning towards they're just auto-includes in those factions. And last but certainly not least, we've got the Silex change. This is huge. I'm actually going to have to go ahead and I'm probably going to be disenchanting some of my promos I crafted, or my premiums, because the decks that wanted to use them and that I had the most, where the Cylixes were the most fun for me personally, as I was playing in them in crazy 4-faction, 5-faction decks. I would have every single Silex in the deck, and having to have 3 of a faction just makes that completely impossible. Whereas, before, you didn't expect to get the treasures immediately, but come the late game, you were kind of guaranteed to just be ahead on cards just from your power alone. So now this has been dialed back massively. In my testing so far, I've already played some games with these changes in place. If you're not dedicated into these factions, they're not really... It's still probably going to be better than other power, because late game, it's always going to be untapped. But you're not going to get that super fast and quick, like, turn 3 untapped power. Now, at the very minimum, let's say I'm playing in the Rakano Silex's standpoint, let's say I'm playing a heavily Justice-themed deck, then sure, I'll probably still play the Silex, just because turn 4, I'll have 100% chance that this card will enter untapped. Now, there's a good chance I won't have the Silex, but I'll probably still be playing these cards to some extent. But in 3-faction decks, I'm definitely going to be very choosy about which ones I include, and I might not just be, I'm building an Aurelian deck, which would be time Primal, and Shadow, I'm not just going to go ahead and start off with 4 Elysian Silex and 4 Xenon Silex. Like, the days of us doing that have passed. I'm just sad, and I mentioned this on stream, I'm just sad that we didn't get the opportunity for absolute madness of having all 10 Silexes in their original form in play at once. I know that would have been broken, but even for just like a day, I would have loved to have played in that world. Now, I probably would have gotten sick of it really fast, and everyone probably would have been just playing 4 Dickrose Ruins. But hey, I like some craziness sometimes, and I wish we got to see that, but this does make it easier for them to release the other Silexes without having to nerf them after the fact. So hopefully we get them soon, and I look forward to seeing what we can do with them then. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about that. Let's take a look at some of these promos and new release spoilers and just go over them. So we've got Vulk, the Auto Forge, Endurance, Overwhelm, Entomb, play Vulk's Heart. Vulk's Heart, pay 3, sacrifice the Heart and another relic, and your Vulk comes back. So he'll come back as a 7/5, and then a 9/7, and then so on and so forth. And I actually really like this card. I've seen some mixed responses and mixed comments, but one thing to keep in mind, being a Sentinel and Explorer is very, very important typing. And even just as a 3-power 5/3 with like no other text, I would probably still play this card. And one thing to keep in mind too is if we're playing like a deck that cares about sacrificing relics, we're not obligated to use Vulk's Heart for that for that aspect of the deck. Like, we can still just play Vulk, let him generate this relic, and then I can just Lethrai Lobotomy this relic away. I can Consume and Greed, I think is the name of it. I can use that to get rid of Vulk's Heart, or I can use Clear the Way. I believe, hopefully I'm getting these card names right. But I can use these to go ahead and mess with the card. Let's see if I'm insane. Yeah, Clear the Way. So I can amplify and sacrifice a relic to make it cost less. So that's a very excellent way to make use of Vulk's Heart. If we decide to splash Shadow, we have Lethrai Lobotomy. And let's see if I am 3 for 3 on not messing that up. Yep, Consuming Greed. So these are all fun cards. Definitely look out. I'll probably be making a silly 4-faction deck that involves Vulk. Next up, we've got Gren, the Iron Martyr. If you are not in Direwolf's Discord, there's some very hilarious memes popping around. I recommend to just go and experience those for yourself. But as far as this card goes, we're basically going to be combusting it, devouring it, strange burglaring it, just to sacrifice it, and then buffing the spells in our hand. You could also use this with let me dip into this website here. Align the Tesseract. So let me see if I can make that bigger. Here we go. Align the Tesseract. Probably know what this is by now, but sacrifice the Grenadine to play this for 3 less. This is just another good way to make use of Gren, and actually has some pretty good synergy with all aspects of this card. So I kind of expect them to go hand in hand coming down the road in the future. Making your spells deal more damage and drawing the cards seem to be good. I don't really think this buffing your other Grenadine will see too much of an impact, but hey, the other effects are pretty strong, and it seems like a pretty solid, just put it in your deck, and it'll cycle for a card and give you some other minor effects. Unfortunately, it not being able to chump block kind of changes things, so it's no sad robot, it's more of an angry robot. If you don't know what Sad Robot is, it's a funny Magic the Gathering card. I will allow you to Google that yourself. For the last, and certainly not least card, we've got Hifos Reach Captain. basically pretty solid amplify card here. One thing I noticed when I was playing the soldier mechanic is there were a few of the soldiers that required me to amplify to get full effect out of them. And I was sitting there and I was talking and I'm like, there's just not... There were like 2 amplify cards that I wanted to include in the deck, and the rest just felt like too much of a stretch or too much power or not enough reward for actually doing the amplify, or it was so expensive that it just wasn't realistic that I was ever going to do it, or at least not in a soldier deck. So I really like the design on this card. It does force you into time. A lot of the soldiers that I'd want to be playing are just Horu, but if you wanted to go down the amplify route, now if you splash into time, we have a very, very respectable 1-drop. Having this come down as a 3/4 or even bigger, stunning some guys and drawing sigils, these are all effects that I'm pretty interested in playing. It'll basically mean this card is good at every stage of the game. Turn 1 you can play it. That's probably not when you're going to play it, but if you have to, you will. Turn 3 you'll play it, turn 5, turn 7, or whenever if you're ramping. These are some pretty good ramp factions, so that is that. We've gone through all of the cards, all of the spoilers so far. I'm very excited to be brewing and updating lists. I did play live on stream with some of these changes. We were blowing through some... not going to save this. We were going through with some updates to my various World Pyre decks. Long story short, I think they got pretty much wrecked by these changes to like Xenon Silex and etc. So I'll have to retool how I go about being the World Pyre meme lord you guys all know me to be. Yeah, keep an eye out. More videos for me to come. I'm excited for the new set, and I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. If you did and want to see more content like this, please subscribe. It means a lot to me, and toss some comments on what you're excited about with these changes, or if there's more you wanted to see. Thanks for watching, guys, and as always, thank you for being a part of the Turtle Club.